Thought it'd be quite fun to watch you guys play that. Let me stop the music. Turn off the server. Where's the music? There it is. Hi guys. Oh, hi Hitch. You raided already. I missed the raid. Sorry. That's from some guy who made the music in 2001 on the SID chip. Hi guys. So we've got everybody here. Hi Richmond, Mike. Hi Hitch. Hi Cola. Hi Jacob. Sinlao. Steps. Amok. Yes. So tonight we're going to look at Airwolf. We're going to see if we can make something special out of it. So what I've done to prepare ahead of time is, I'll show you quickly. I took the sprites from Airwolf so I could see what they look like. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't wasting my time going down this route. So these are the sprites. Every sprite is a double sprites. It's made of two. And what I've done is I've also taken the sprites from Fort Apocalypse. Which are very basic. And basically copied frames as closely as I could for those. So what we're going to do, first of all we're going to try and extract a clean PRG from the Airwolf disk using a tool I've been working on this week. Then we're going to use Sublime to inject new data into it. So we're going to try and inject these sprites into it. Then we're going to change the code to deal with the new sprites, because these are multicolor, these are high res, so we're going to have to make some changes there. And then we're going to try and look at how the game controls. So I don't know if anybody's played Airwolf, but it's absolutely horrendous to control. Actually, Hitch, did you even play Airwolf then? Because you said you were going to, and you didn't. I know Dommy's going to play it, because I've seen his YouTube video. And I removed the cave. Yeah, it's a strange choice for a helicopter pilot to decide to enter a cave. Okay, so let's start by just loading Airwolf up in Vice, just so we can see just how terrible it is. Maybe I'll leave Airwolf on the next interval for you guys to try and play it collaboratively. That should be fun. It's hard enough when you've only got one of you with very fast reaction times. Yeah, Fort Apocalypse is probably my favourite helicopter game on the 64. Let's speed that up a bit. I don't know if you can hear the music from that. You probably can't actually. Let me turn the... There we go. Right, I've remapped my controls for the bot, so I'm hoping this still works. Nope. Need to sort my controls out. Thank you for the follow, Dancing Wolf. Welcome to the stream. I don't want to save the settings. I want to change my joystick settings. Okay. That's why. Key set A. Yeah, that should be right now. There we go. It's just very, very twitchy. It should turn quicker, I think. I think it should fall slower. And it should accelerate left and right slower as well. So we're gonna we're gonna see what we can do with this. Oh, and we're gonna try and, because the other thing I don't like about this game is if you look down here, you've got your shield icons. And they're medieval shields. I'm not sure what that is about, but they're medieval shields, so that's incorrect. We should change that. So let's. I don't know what it's doing there. Oh yeah, it's bouncing me around. See these shields go down, so we'll have a look at those and see if we can replace those as well. Yeah, so I mean, we can have a look through the code and see what we can do with it. So what I'm going to demonstrate first is this tool that I've written here. It's probably quite hard to see there. Let me see if I can make it bigger on here. So it's called Cracker because I'm quite rubbish at coming up with names for things. Oh, have I got lots of... Oh, hang on. I need to stop. It's receiving... what the hell? It's still receiving key commands from somewhere. No. Do I need to stop? Oh, I need to stop this server, that's why. Okay. Oh, thank you for the subscribe, Amok. Once we're sure they do get used in caves. It's really weird. I don't know why you would fly a helicopter in caves. It's very strange. So these D64s, I think I've shown you this tool before. They're just a list of files basically, and we're interested in this PRG here. Now you can extract the PRG by dragging it out like that, but what I've done with this tool, in fact, if I can show you the code. Let's stop the code. New window. Probably it's another Node app, but basically it uses this tool that comes with Vice to load the disk and then extract things from it, and then it uses this tool to depack the file. And most of the time these files are packed more than once. So what this tool will do is it will keep depacking until it can't depack anymore. So I'll show you how that works. It's really, really simple. Let me copy Airwolf into here. So if I do node depack and then Airwolf, and so it very quickly finds the correct PRG, depacks it. So it's been packed once with this and then again with this. So it depacks it twice, and then it tells you the entry point as well, because the depacked file won't automatically run. So I'll show you that in here. Thank you for the host, Hayes. So it's going to load correctly. So it's now created this out PRG file, and if I load that in there, it will just return to this screen and do nothing. The reason it does nothing is because there is no basic program. So what my tool will do will give you the hex address or the basic command that you can use. If I do sys 4096, there we go. So it runs the game. So what that lets us do, if I open this file, get rid of that. Go. Whoops. I don't know how well you can see that. Turn my desktop audio down a little bit as well. So this is a small kick assembler program that basically allows you to create a patch. So this will take the out PRG that we've just created from my first tool and create that as the base file, and then allow you to put anything over the top of it as well. So for instance, you can do something everybody's used to seeing if you've been watching my game streams. And there we go. And then you can do, I should probably do that in hex really. There you go. Now when I compile that, it should automatically run this time. I've done things right. There you go. So this lets you put stuff over the top of the code that's here. So what we're going to do, we're going to start by locating the sprites in memory. I know where they are already, but I'm going to show you how I locate them. And then we're going to overlay our Fort Apocalypse sprites. And we're going to reload the game and see what happens. So the way you do it is you load the game up, and then when you've got the game loaded, you take a snapshot. So if I just load the game up, you can do this through the debugger as well, but it's very, very quick and easy to do it this way as well. So for the sake of speed, I'm going to do it this way. Go to snapshot, save a snapshot image, just put it on the desktop. And then you can go into Sprite Pad and go to File, Import by Snapshot. And then select your snapshot file. And you get a picture of all the sprites in the different Vic Bank. So you can see there's nothing in Vic Bank 0, but in Vic Bank 1 we definitely have sprites here. So you can then click OK, and that loads them into memory. And you're now working within. So we know it's in Vic Bank 1. Which is at 4000, so I'm going to actually put a program counter in here, and I'm going to call it sprites. That's where we want to load our sprites into, but it's not actually in the first position, which is all the way up here. It's actually the sprite start here, so it's sprite 84. So what I can do is, here I can do 4000 plus 84 times 64, because there's 64 bytes in a sprite, so that gives us a start location for our sprites now. And so to replace them, all we need to do is we need to load our other sprites. I did the same thing for the Apocalypse sprites. I took a snapshot, loaded it in, and then just did some editing to split, because they were just in one square, because Fort Apocalypse is sensible and doesn't have stupidly sized helicopters. So I did some editing and moved it around like this. I've actually got 4 blank ones at the beginning here. I shouldn't have those really, so I'm gonna do that and take those 4 off the end. There we go. And now all I need to do is exactly what we were doing in our game streams. We export the sprite data as a bin, raw data. I'm going to call it new sprites.bin, and we've got it there. And I'm just going to pop that into, actually let's do it all in here. So I'm going to take a copy of our crack ASM file, put it in here, make sure we're working with that one. And a copy of our out, which is our clean. So this is our clean file. And then just in here, import binary. What was it? New sprites.bin. And that should be it. Hopefully, if this has worked, and I don't know if this is going to work because I've not tried this yet. Is that? Yeah, that is. So what we're seeing here is a high-res sprite drawn in multicolor, so we'll look at the code and change that. Collision detection, yeah, so one of the things I did as well to prepare was check out the collision detection, because I wanted to make sure that making the helicopter smaller would make a difference. So I'll show you how you can easily check that. So if I start the game, oops, it's doing some weird stuff, but we can figure out what that is soon. Yeah, it's doing some weird things when I turn. We can have a look at the sprites and figure out what that is in a minute. It looks like it's splitting one of the frames. So the way you can very quickly check if sprite collision is done with the VIC registers. So there is two ways of doing sprite to background collision. There's the standard VIC way of doing things using the collision registers. And there's the kind of slightly more complicated way of doing it yourself. But because the background's all black in here and there's no other, it doesn't look like there's any other characters. I assumed it was probably VIC collision. And the way you can check that, so you can see I'm bouncing off the edges here. You go into settings, and I think, where is it now? Settings, VIC2 settings, and there's these. I've already got sprites turned over, so you can turn these collisions off. So if I turn those off now, and now I can fly straight through everything. So that's a Vice setting. That isn't in our PRG, but we can make changes to do that. But I'm not going to change that. I'm going to keep the collision as it is, and instead we're going to see if we can find a way to just make the game easy with its controls. That's it. Game fixed. Yeah. So yeah, if you're looking to play around with a game and work out if it's got collision. Using the VIC registers, the VIC2 settings are really good for this. Also, I would suggest, I've seen some people talking today about launching Vice from for their programs, and they're using x64. I would recommend, if you look in the Vice folder, you will see where is it now? Turn that off. The music's good, but it gets annoying after a while. You will see in the C64 folder. No, not in the C64 folder. Where is it? Oh, it's in this folder. So that's the one I think by default everybody's using. I use x64 SC wherever it is. It doesn't seem to be here though for some reason. Or maybe I've changed it. I think I renamed it so it was x64. But you'll see when I launch, it has this SC in the corner, and that's just a much more cycle accurate version of the emulator. So if you're having some problems with effects, load it up in x64 SC and double check it in there, because that's the one that's considered the most accurate one. Hi Dr. Miz, welcome to the stream. Right, so we have a sprite in there. Let's see if we can figure out what that glitch is. So this is our Fort Apocalypse sprites that I've constructed. Let's get our Airwolf sprites up again. We can just see where they've been broken. Unfortunately, Sprite Pad won't open automatically if you double click, which is a bit annoying. So let's copy these sprites to the beginning just so they're easier to compare. Okay, so we need to compare this one to this one and see if there's any difference. I think it's these frames down here. So if you look at these frames, if I put them in the animate panel down here, you'll see this is kind of the turn-in animation. So I need to figure out what is going on there. So it looks like there's 4 frames of it on one side and 4 frames of it on the other side. And they start here, which is what I've got actually. Oh no, I have... okay, let's copy that there like that. And then let's do the same with that there. I think that might be it actually. We're just checking to make sure all of these are roughly in the same places. Thank you for the follow, Zelrech. Am I going to replace the cage with accurate TV show sets? I wish I could. I really do wish I could. So let's export these sprites again. Let's minimize that rather than close it, because we might go back to it. Minimize that. And let's bring up Sublime. And this should hopefully replace it properly. Yeah, there we go, we got rid of the glitch. I mean, the helicopter doesn't look as good. I mean, this is a helicopter written for a very early game in, what, 1983 or something, but at least it's working. It's doing the right things when we change directions. Cool. So the first thing we're going to have to do is make sure that the multicolor mode is turned off for this sprite. So we'll do that in the debugger. We'll keep this open here, but we'll look through the debugger for our information that we need to change. What's going on there? Oh, I had something else going on in there. I think that's my apocalypse. Let me grab our output file. So we put our clean file in here because this is the one we know is hasn't got any of the cracks in and matches our memory map. Let's bring up the. Still don't know these commands for to get to the correct screen. No, 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 no. I don't know why that screen looks like that. It should have. But anyway, these two sprites are the sprites for our player. So what we need to do is get into the Vic mode and have a look at these. So they look like they are sprite 0 and 1. So we're looking to set bits 0 and 1. High confident as well. So we need to find the multicolor register, and I cannot remember for the life of me where that is. So I'm going to grab the memory map. Yeah, let's have a look. Multicolor mode on. That's for the background. I think it's D01C actually. Thinking of this. But yeah, D01C. So we're looking for this value somewhere in memory. So we'll do our usual trick of hunting it down in memory. We've only got 2 locations apparently that use it, so let's go and have a look at the closest one. And so this is set in 3 registers with the value 7, which is bits 0, 1 and bit 2 as well. So that's 3 sprites it's set into multicolor. And whatever D015 is, I can't remember. I think that's just enable. I think that's sprite enable and D01B is sprite priority in front. So it's probably not this, but I am going to go and change that value anyway. Let's search for it in here actually, just to see if it changes it on the title screen. 37DD. So it's as simple as this. You can go in here, type your new memory address in that you want to change, and then what you want to change the byte to. We'll actually, instead of doing it like that, we'll just replace that command. So the command is at 37DC, and we'll just change it with so that's set in bits 0, 1 and 2. We just want to set, we don't want to set bits 0 and 2, so that's 0 and 1, so that becomes 4. Now when we run that, I think this might be the title screen, but I'm not sure. Oh, we don't see it at all. Because it's set in, it's also set in the sprite enabled bit here as well. So we'd need to do some trickery around here to make this work. So one thing you can do is you can find a nice block of blank space, and there's usually a lot at the beginning of basic memory. So basic memory is around here, and you see we don't have anything here really. So I'm gonna use 0820. I'm gonna put a little routine here. And I'm going to do what was it, D01C, wasn't it? Yeah. And then I'm going to change the code at this location. So I'm going to keep it as that. I'm going to store it in the locations that I do want to store it in, which is these ones. And then I'm going to jump to, I'm going to give it a label, label MC Sprite. So all we're doing is we're just rewriting the code a little bit to redirect it to allow us to insert code into places in memory. Let's turn all these Vice windows off. And there we go, we've now got a solid colour. I'm pretty sure though this isn't going to be the same in the game. We're probably going to have, yeah, so we need to find the other location, which I think is this one here. So let's, I don't know if you can hear that music, but it's very annoying. Okay, so we need to go to 1B50 and have a look there and see if we can 1B50. So yeah, this is kind of doing the same. So this is setting everything. FF is setting all bits to multicolor, so every sprite in the game will be multicolor at that point. I'm not sure why it displays weird in this window. It's an odd one, but not to worry. Right, so we can do the same again. So we're going to overwrite the code at this location. 1B4E, and we're going to change it. We're going to do FF-3, so that would be FC. So we don't want the first two bits. It's the same as this here. We want to disable the bits on those first two sprites, like that. Oh, sorry, no, we don't want to do that. We want to move that into here. So let's move that down here. This is the code we want to run, and we'll call this disable MC Sprite 2. And then here we can do, we need to take up 5 bytes here, so we can do, we'll just do 2 nops. So no operation is just a single byte that just takes 2 cycles. It doesn't do anything. It means no operation. And then we'll jump to our disable MC Sprite 2. There we go. Hi Rupu. We're doing a little bit of both, Rupu. So we're, yeah, as Hay says, a bit of both. We're doing some patching of Airwolf to make it a more playable game. Or going to try and make it more playable anyway, so. And hopefully this will give us, yeah, there we go. So now we've got single color in here. Any choice of color? Anyone want to pick a color for it? Kind of blends in a bit, doesn't it? Maybe it should be white or something. I think it's yellow in Fort Apocalypse. While you decide, I'm going to go and find where that's being set. So that's this bit here. So all we have to do is change this load accumulator to a different color, and it will change the in-game color. In fact, I'm going to write some comments above these so we know. In-game sprite color. Disable in-game MC Sprite for player. Light grey should be best. Puke green. Brown was white on the spectrum. Black. Now black would work if we changed the background colour. So, you know, maybe. Let's see who's voted for the most. We've got one brown, one white, one black, one puke green. Light grey. I'm gonna change it to white. We can always change it later, so we can always come back and change it here. I'm actually going to use constants here, so it's obvious what we're doing. Plus one for puke. That would be 2 votes for puke green from one person there. So. Oh wow, that music! I'm going to disable the music for a minute because, as much as I like the Airwolf music, I cannot listen to it on a loop. Let's give that a try. So this is only going to change it in. This is only going to change it in the game, not anywhere else. Thank you for the follow, Coconut. There we go. It does actually look a bit too bright now, doesn't it? So I think. Do you know what? I think Hazy's right. Actually, I think that kind of really light green color is probably correct. And thank you for the host as well, Coconut. All right, let's have a look. What have we got? And we'll change it on the menu as well. I actually quite like that. It is puke green, but it is kind of okay. That acceleration is insane, isn't it? Should be like half the speed. Did I invite Jean-Michael Vincent, aka Stringfellow Hawk, to join the stream? I don't even know who that is, Colt. Feel the green. Yeah, I kind of like the green. Looks nice. Oh, he was the pilot. See, it was so young when Airwolf was on. I vaguely remember it, but I do remember the game. I tended to play more games than I did anything else. Let's see if we can find the main menu color as well. I'm guessing it's going to be this one because it's up near where the other code was. Yeah, there it is. So 37B8 is setting the colour on the main menu, so let's do that. Let's just copy this. Thank you for the sub, 21 up. And welcome to the stream. So 37B8. Cool, right, so that should patch us. Mistook a sub for a follow. Oh, did I? Who subbed? Who did I miss? Oh, Coconut. Thank you for the sub, Coconut. Yeah, I'm still quite a bit of a Twitch noob, really, so I'm still struggling with noticing all my alerts all the time. I do have the sound on, but I have to be careful it's not too loud. There we go. So we've now got. I've got to say the animation on the actual original helicopter is much better. Fort Apocalypse helicopter is a little bit rubbish, but my alerts are not allowed. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I need some large kind of full screen videos like you've got. I do enjoy the Kim Wilde one though. Makes me laugh. Oh, I've got to flick this. Okay, so we're getting somewhere in terms of. Okay, so I think the next thing we should probably do is look at. Oh, do you notice the crash animation is from the old? The old sprite, so we'd probably need to change the crash animation as well. I mean, it doesn't matter too much, I guess. Okay, so let's see if we can find where this acceleration is happening, where the gravity is happening. We'll start with the gravity, because if we can turn the gravity down a little bit, that will definitely make it a bit easier. Let's start by checking in zero page. It's always a good idea just to have a look in there. It's bothering me that I can't really play this version very well in here for some reason. Let me see if I can load our new one in there. So should have a new version, cracked version in here. Doesn't seem to be loading in though properly for some reason. Bin crack. Yeah, that's weird. I feel like my debugger is broken a little bit actually. I do steps. I think that the kind of acceleration, and I think the time to turn the craft around is too slow. I think the left and right acceleration is too high. The vertical acceleration is too high, and the gravity is too high as well. It'd be good if we could just turn the update into, you know, once every other frame instead of every frame. Unfortunately, I can't seem to start the game in here, so there we go. I don't know why it looks like this though. That's really frustrating. But let's have a look at these values. So one of these might be like a gravity constant. This looks promising down here. So do you see those move? These 4 values. Let's see if I can get to a... Oh, damn it! I've loaded my creatures. There's something wrong with my debugger. I don't know what's going on there. Let me see if I can clear its cache somewhere. Has anyone else had this problem? It did this on me the other day when I was looking at something, so... Oh no, where the hell is it? Not seeing anything related to the debugger. Oh, there we go. See, no, that's not it. Because it shouldn't look like this. It should, you know, all the sprites are wrong in here. Everything. Don't know if I've done something in the settings. Let me do settings to factory defaults. There we go. A restart. Maybe I broke something changing some settings the other day. Okay, let's load up our Airwolf. Game out. Oh, I need to turn on that one. No. This is what happens when you don't check everything before the stream. So far in a... What about if we put Clyde in place of the helicopter? Would you play it then? Because you know we can do that. I'm not sure it would work very well, but we can definitely do that. I cannot find the... Oh, load first PAG. Yes, we want to do that. Always jump to loaded address. Yes. Yes. Okay. Hopefully it should work. No, it's not working, is it? What's going on with this? Try again with a fresh. So that definitely loads because we're seeing it in here. Let me... Yeah, so this is our empty bin folder. Yep, no problem. Let me find that. The problem is this is no longer injecting to RAM, so we are going to have issues with that. That's fine though. We can use our we'll use the D64 when it comes to the debugger. That's all this is. It's because in Vice it injects to RAM, so it shows what's underneath. It loads stuff underneath the. Why did that not work? It loads stuff underneath kernel and basic, but in the debugger it's not going to do that. So we're going to have to. That was more like 50%. It's really hard to tell because I can't hear the music at all. Let me turn it up a bit. How is that? Yeah, it's really hard for me to tell because I can't hear it. I know Haze is paying with that now. I'm gonna nudge it a little bit. There we go. It's a tiny nudge. Why is it not loading anything? This is really weird. I think I broke my debugger, guys. That's not good, is it? Let's take that off. Do that. Let's turn the fast kernel off. Okay. I think that's about right. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to extract the PRG from this file myself. It's definitely doing something. There we go. Still doesn't look quite right in here, but oh, I've got to turn that off. Oh my god, I'm having a nightmare, aren't I? Let's reset the settings again. I don't know. Restart again. Check the wine setting. It's because I haven't had any wine. If I'd had some wine, then I'd definitely be able to handle this much easier. You know what I'm like. Right, please work. I mean, it's less important for this stream because we are just doing, we are hacking around with it. There we go. No, it's some weird settings I think in the debugger. I've got to stop messing with them. I kind of change things without really thinking about them. I do want to turn the sound off though. So that is one setting I am going to mess with. Okay, cool. So what we're going to look for is the kind of acceleration, the vectors that control the speed of this helicopter. Our patched version obviously will have the right helicopter in it. So, yeah. Okay. So I noticed these values. I think it was here, yeah. So I'm not sure what these are. I mean, we can try changing one and see what happens. Didn't seem to do anything, did it? but they're definitely moving up and down as I move, or at least some of the digits are. So whenever you see purple, it means these values are being read to and written to and read from. So that's usually a good culprit for values. And you see, whenever I move, they go purple, then they go back again, purple and back again. So I'm gonna try and hunt down what's going on with this address. So we'll do. Let's bring up the opcode table so we know what we're looking for. Opcodes. And we're gonna look for 0 page store, which is this one here. So that's 8.5. So we're looking for store accumulator and then FB, which is our 0 page address for wherever it was. This one here. Okay, so there's a couple. Let's go and have a look what they're doing. So indeed, these are storing some values in FB, FC, FD, FE. So these are these values here, but they're being taken. Some of them are being taken from this area here. For colourblind people, because I don't see the colours changing. Oh yeah, you definitely should. You definitely should. They seem to be making a lot of changes actually to it. I've considered contacting them about enhancing this monitor as well, so we can do the kind of cheat finding that we were doing with my node script. I just haven't got around to it yet, but I probably will do that at some point. So I need to get my notepad because I need to start making some notes about this as we go. So addresses of interest at FB to FE, we're not entirely sure what they're doing yet, but they do seem to be related to some kind of movement. There's another one here, not sure what that is, we can look at that later. But two of these addresses, FB and FC, which is, let me get back to them again, this one and this one, are being loaded from these non-zero page addresses. So let's go and have a look what's going on there. For E. So that's this and this here. And they do seem to be moving. Actually, this one here, I think this is the scroll address actually. So if I set that to 0, 0, no, nothing happened. Okay, what about 2, 0? Nothing happened there either. Oh yeah, it is. It seems to be in the map location. So I don't think it's that. The enemy rockets are the sprites. Let's have a look. So if we really should learn these shortcuts. So this is our Vic view. Start the game. But anything with a red square around it is a sprite. So yeah, they are sprites. Doesn't look like they've got a multiplexer in this either. It looks just like they've just planned the levels so that there's never more than 6 things, 6 other sprites on top of the player. I might be wrong. There might be a multiplex, but it doesn't look like it. I don't think there is. But yeah, the bouncy ones definitely are. Is that the game code ripped to a spreadsheet? So this is C64 debugger, which allows you to drop C64 PRG files or D64 files in, and then you can examine everything about the game. Thanks, Dom. I'm looking forward to seeing your Airwolf stuff, and hopefully we'll have a decent version of the game for you to play at some point. Could those rockets be done that smooth without using sprites? Yeah, I mean they could. but sprites is just a very easy way to do it. You could use character sprites and you could scroll the data within the character sprites, but it's just not a very practical way to do things. Yeah, I'll do my best, Dom. I'll do my best to get you something that you can actually play and hopefully complete. Okay, so let's try. Let's see. How did we in Thrust? I can't remember how we found the vectors in Thrust. Can't remember if it was just by luck because we were looking in the. I know we had some source code towards the end, but I can't remember if because we did originally find the speed vectors in the code somewhere. Let's go back in and have a look. So again, we'll look at zero page. Zero page is usually a good candidate for these things because it's quick. Speed is the sort of thing that's read quite a lot. So I'm pretty sure these are to do with screen location. So it's kind of an indicator of where you are in the level. I'm not sure how they're encoded, but they definitely seem to be related to that. We could try looking for joystick controls, I guess. It says after them, make the position, change characters after them. Yeah, for the sprites, yeah. Okay, let's have a look for joystick control, which I believe is I want to say DD00. I can never remember this correctly, so no, it's DC00. That's why. Yeah. So joystick port 2. So let's see where that's being read. Because obviously, in order to move, you have to use the joystick. So hopefully, this is being it's being read in quite a few places. So our game loop seemed to be around here because this is where we were setting the colours, or it was very close there anyway. It was turning the multicolor off for the sprite was at 3.7. So I'm going to start there as just a kind of guess, really. Okay, so this is loading the joystick, the state of joystick port 2, and checking for the fire button. And that's all it's doing, actually. It's not doing anything else after that. So if the fire button hasn't been pressed, then it comes to here, which increases some value. 378F. What happens if you're not shooting? Nothing really, does it? What happens if we shoot? Not seen any energy go down or anything. Okay. So I don't think it's this. This just looks like a fire routine. There's another skip here. This is probably VA5B, so it skips over here. This is probably something to do with timing how often you can fire, because otherwise you'd be able to, hold down the fire button and you'd just see a constant stream of bullets come out. So this could just be a timer for that, I think. Because there is this, if it's equal to 0, then jump to here, and that makes me think. Actually, we've got an increment, and then we load it and we end it with 1. So this is actually, do you remember in my last game, well, not everybody would, I guess, but in my last game stream we did a timer which is constantly ticking up like this. It was just incrementing every frame, and we used that by looking at the last bit. So we end it with 1, and what we get is the very last bit is either 0 or 1, and that toggles on and off once per frame. So this could just be a way to half the speed of it. So it's actually exiting. So we can actually test this. If we just change this to and 0, we can see what happens. So at the moment, shooting that speed. So let's try changing it. It could be the update of the bullets. It could be the time between shooting. but whatever it is, it's something that's happening every other frame when you press fire. And that's a good point actually, every other frame if you press fire. So maybe if you hold down fire. Let's try editing and see what happens. Start the code. Let's see what happens. It doesn't seem to have done anything. I mean, I think I'm shooting. Oh, maybe I'm shooting a little bit faster actually. Well, we can check that by actually setting it to a high value instead. So if we pick a value with multiple bit set, so this has got 3 bits set, we might see something a little bit different. Yeah, I think that's to do with the bullet fire rate. I'm going to try one more thing just to make it really obvious, make it really high. Oops. No, it's not that. I'm not sure what that was doing then. Whatever it was doing, I don't think it was affecting the fire rate, so I'm just going to put that back for now. I don't want to leave it changed in case it breaks anything. Okay. Turn off. Okay, so let's have a look at some other locations then. This is probably to do with the intro. But I'm going to go and check it out anyway, because we'll know if it's the intro, because up and down aren't going to do anything on the intro, so there won't be any comparisons with those values on the intro. So this is loading the value from the joystick port 2, transferring it, ending it with the first 4 bytes, so up, down, left, and right. It compares it with the 4 bits that are set. The bits on the joystick are set if they're not active and unset if they are active. So what this is doing here is saying if any of the directions have been pressed, then come to here. So it looks like this is actually our joystick routine, because I don't think you can use up, down, left and right on the main screen. It doesn't do anything. No, it doesn't. So I'm going to put a breakpoint in there. I'm just going to see what happens. No, nothing there. Good night, Kyla. Thanks for joining the stream. Take care. Okay, so we've got some kind of action going there, but it's hitting it every single time. Maybe this is a case of if it's not equal, so if these two aren't equal when it comes to here, this would imply that our joystick is being pressed constantly, and it can't be. Okay, let's get rid of that one and let's go to this location instead. 1785 is this one. Okay. That's being hit every time as well. Okay, not to worry. So what we're looking for is if the player pushes up on the joystick, we want to know where that thrust is being added. And once we figure out where that's being added, we can find out what else adds to that or takes away from that, which will give us our gravity value, which should be in memory somewhere. We've just got to find it. So up is bit 0 on the joystick, so that's 1, which is this here. So this looks kind of suspicious. I'm going to put a breakpoint on this line. I'm suspecting that this is what happens if you push up on the joystick, so let's have a look. I'm pushing all the directions, nothing. If I push up, yeah, okay. So 1813, so let's go and have a look there. And what on earth is that doing? Oh, so this is checking. So at this point, X is our the state of the joystick. I'm not entirely sure on this, so please correct me if you know I'm wrong. Sorry, I need a drink. But once you read the joystick values, they're all reset. So it's better to read them and then store them somewhere so that you can keep using the same values. So for instance, if you want to read and check that the fire button has been pressed, but you also want to check if up has been pressed at the same time, you either have to do it all in one go or store that value somewhere so you can check fire and then check up and then check anything else you want to do. And so in this case, the code has checked if we're moving up, and then it's jumped to this location, and again it's grabbed that joystick state from here, put it here, and in with C is 8 and 4, so that's bits 2 and 3, which is, it goes up, down, left, right, so it's left and right, so it's checking if we're moving left and right as well. If we are not moving left and right, then it comes to here and loads this value, whatever this may be. So let's go and have a look at that value. It doesn't actually seem to be doing anything with it, but I noticed we've got 15C7, 15C5, 15C6, so they're kind of these values here, so it looks like these three values here. Let me start again and see what happens. I'm not sure what's going on there, but there's definitely some values changing. Trying to see anything that would indicate a kind of speed in a direction. Actually, I'm gonna go and have a quick cigarette, but what I'm gonna do before I go is I'm gonna leave you a little game running. So let me just open up my little Vice bot. If I can find it. Where's it gone? What would you like to play? Let's have a look. I've downloaded a couple of games and took snapshots ready, so that this will work. So I'm just gonna pick one. Yeah, don't need that. Oh, I'll tell you what we'll put on. Okay, let me put Vice on. Let me drop that in. And I think I need to swap joysticks. Is this Joyport 1 or is it Joyport 2? It's definitely works like that, okay. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna restart the server. Anyway, enough of that. I've got to turn my little thing off, so I'm going to get all your key presses. So what I'm going to do with that is I've got a Raspberry Pi. I'm going to set it up on a Raspberry Pi on another channel, and I'm just going to leave it on. I'm going to put lots of extra commands in. I'm going to pick 10 games or something, and once an hour you'll be able to change the game, and it will store a snapshot of the last game. So if you're, say, playing Dizzy and you play it for an hour and you get somewhere in it, it's still going, and you get somewhere in it and then somebody changes the game, it will save a snapshot of that game and then move on to the next game. So if you go back to Dizzy, you can carry on where you left off. But let's get back to Airwolf. Yeah, I'm not sure what games they're going to be. That's a good point, actually. If anybody's got any ideas for what games you'd like to see on that bot, let me know in the Discord. The link is somewhere. Actually, if I do that, if you just go, I guess, game requests or dissect requests, if you put it in there, just specify that you'd like to see it on the bot, and we'll add it to there. It needs to preferably be just joystick, preferably in port 2, because I don't want to have to kind of figure out how to switch the joystick ports all the time. Yeah, Airwolf might be funny as well, but can you imagine how difficult Airwolf would be with lag and everything? It'd be quite difficult. We played Mike's game, Vegetables, yesterday, and that worked quite well, actually. Okay, I'm going to try looking for the sprite itself, where that's updated. So I'm going to look for a store accumulator at the sprite addresses. So not the 0 page one, we want the absolute one. So this one here, so that's 8D. Because we can work out where the sprite is, when it's being positioned. We want the vertical. Then we might be able to work out where it's what values are being added to it. So I'm going to check this one again, because again, kind of around the 3000 mark was where our code seemed to be. So this is just setting a hard coded value to it. This looks like our starting position. I mean, we can test that out if we go to 37CB and change that value here to something different. Let's change it to 29 and see what happens. And when we start, yeah, slots would be good. Oh, there's some good what are they called, the pub, is it Pub Simulator? I think Codemasters did a pub slot simulator, didn't they? That would be good. I'm going to write that down, actually, Hayes. That's an amazing idea. I'm going to go and find the best slot simulator, or casino simulator. Fruit machine simulator, that was it, yeah. Remember, that was one of my pocket money purchases. I was learning to gamble at an early age, and nowadays everybody's complaining about loot boxes. Okay, so this is setting values, so this is kind of an initial setup. Yeah, I mean, it's where our colours were set, so this was the area that we patched for our colour. So let's have a look at these other locations instead. Jump to 149C. Here we go. This is interesting. So this is adding a value to the Y register, and it's adding 15C6, which is the area we were looking at before. So I think if I change that to something like F0, maybe we need a subtract from it. We have a subtract here. So this 15C6 is definitely doing something. Oh, I'm going to write that one down as well. If you can drop these names in my Discord channel, that'd be really useful. If you put it in, just put it in the Dissect requests, and I'll know what they're for. And maybe I'll make a bot request channel as well. 15C6. Okay, so this looks like, yeah, because it's doing both sprites. So it's doing the left sprite and the right sprite in both cases. And so this looks like our. This one here looks like our for routine. So if I put a breakpoint here, push up. Oh, that's not actually having an effect on it. That's interesting. Maybe it's not that section that's doing anything. Let's have a look at the other area. 14B1 was here. That's subtracting. Let's have a look at 1B26. This seems to be just setting a solid value as well, so there doesn't seem to be anything adding directly, other than these first two, but they don't seem to be affected. Okay, let's try this search again, but let's search for the lower byte and see if we get a different result. So we do get a slightly different result. So we can see these are kind of roughly in the same area. So these are probably just the X versions of what we saw, but we get this one, which is a new one. So we'll go and have a look at that. Okay, so this is taking the X and adding 2 to it. So I'm going to change that to add 1 and see what happens. It crashes is what happens. Or no, it's broke. That's what it's done. It's hit a break point. It's hit that break point where it is actually adding something, which is this. Okay. Keeps hitting that. I think that is what's sending us down. It's weird though. It doesn't do it straight away. It only does it. Hi 4i, welcome to the stream. I don't think you were here. Have you just joined? Okay, let's go back to that location again. Let's have a look what's going on there. So we've got some. So this is the X position of the left sprite. It's also doing the most significant byte as well here. So this is definitely adding to our sprite in that direction and adding to our sprite in the other direction as well. Although, actually, if you look here, this is now split in half. I think this was what's done that. We've only moved one side. So this looks like the intro. I think actually if we had, yeah, title. So this location around 3.7 something is the title screen. So let's change that back. That's wrong. Seems to be related to this title screen. So it has to be these lower areas, but we need to figure out what these values are doing here. Which one of these values is our gravity value, if it is indeed one of these. I'm not seeing anything that would indicate that, but these values are definitely going to change as we start moving around. So there's this counter here at 15C8, which when I'm moving does seem to go up. It never seems to go down though. Oops, I'm stuck. God, this game is terrible. Got my work cut out for me to make this work better, that's for sure. I'm not sure what that is. It could be that this is just the position, like the collision position within a character. You see I'm always hitting 7. 6 or 7 actually. And I'm guessing left, yeah, so left and right. So I think this is to do with the position within a character on the screen. So I'm not sure what those are. Let's have a look again what they were doing. Oh my god. I already want the smaller helicopter. So if I go through here, so difficult. So I'm not entirely sure these are useful. I want to know what these do. I'm not entirely sure what these are doing, but we need to find which one of these values is actually doing that. So let's go back to where we were. Yeah, see, this is these two values here. let's find out what's writing to those. Maybe we get more information if we just find out where they're being written to as well. So look at C715. Okay, we've got a lot there. Let's try C716, and we've got a lot there as well. Let's look for store accumulator in that location. Okay, that narrows it down a lot. So that's 1085 is here. So this is resetting those values to 0. These are definitely of interest. There's something in these values. We just need to figure out what the hell they are doing. Let's jump to the next address. 1AD9. Okay, this is resetting lots of values. We were also resetting A and B, so let's have a look where they are. That's these two here. Let's see if they do anything. Seems to be... it's changing, but I'm not sure what's changing. What it is that's changing. Just goes to 23 after a while. Okay, let's check the next location. So we've got one in a relatively new area of memory here. Again though, it's just been reset to 0. So 33B6. Again reset to 0. 33CC. And again reset to 0. This is... it's not looking promising. And again reset to 0. So they're not even being stored. It could not be. It could be something other than store accumulator. So let's check store X and store Y as well. So we've got 8C and 8E. So let's check 8C and 8E. Let's check it against the next value. No, see, they're not doing anything either. Not sure I could reach the wall on the right after that change I did. Which change? And which wall? The wall on the right. This one over here. I can get there. Oh God, pretty sure helicopters don't bounce like that as well. I mean, look at that. That's just not right. And also, if I'm bouncing, I'm not falling. But I am losing my shields. Silly, silly game. Okay, another thing we can do is we can look at this memory map here. So it's a little harder to see what's going on. We can zoom in and out of it. But we may see some other kind of values being changed. So you'll see lots of pink as things get read and written to and read from all the time. I'm suspecting that big bands like this are not going to be that interesting. This is probably more to do with reading the map data, because it's reading such large blocks of data. But there is lots around here. There's lots of things being changed around here. Now the problem is there doesn't seem to be... oh, there we go. Have a look at these values. Okay, we've got some here. So interestingly, this one definitely changed as we moved. Whoops. Again though, this seems to be our map location. So we're looking for something that would potentially go negative as we move up the screen. To indicate a kind of a thrust up the screen, and this is not going negative. This one, it's kind of flickering around. I mean, it could be this. I'm not entirely sure what it's doing. Let's put something in here and see what happens. we'll know when we hit the right thing, because if we change it, we should see an immediate thrust in a direction. So we're looking for something that's 0 when we're stationary, but changes as we move up and down. I'm not seeing that there. Okay, so let's move over to this area here. So I'm not seeing, that was the same area, isn't it? So let's page down through a bit of this. That's an interesting area there. Where is that? Something around there changed. Oh, these are these values again, so these are the same values that we keep going back to. Not those. But these values here, let's see what they do. No, it's not those. Just gonna keep moving up and down as I scroll through. Let's see if I can see anything that jumps out at me. These are very suspicious, these ones around here, because they do seem to be related to my movement. So you see this one here. This one seems to be my Y position. As I move up the screen, it gets lower. As I go down the screen, it gets higher. So I'm assuming there's an X in there as well somewhere. Hope if I didn't die constantly as well. But again, I don't think it's that. I'm going to write that one down though. We can check that out at some point. Maybe of use. So we've got, again, we're looking for something that's 0 and then non-zero. When I move, seeing that anywhere. Thanks for joining the stream, Reaper, and thanks for joining the stream, Mike. Yeah, there'll be a VOD afterwards if you wanna catch up, and I'm hoping we'll have something. I mean, whatever we create, I'll release anyway. I'll probably pop it in Discord or upload it somewhere. See, these values are all kind of staggered. I don't think it's any of these. I think this is probably map data. I could be wrong though. It could be something else. I'm not seeing anything that jumps out and screams location to me. That seems to be about it really. There's a couple of values here. Well, I'm not seeing them on this side. Oh, there we go. Oh, these are sprite values, so these are obviously going to change. Although interestingly, this won't read the actual sprite values. This is under the IO RAM, so there's some changing values under there, which is interesting. Again, though, I'm not seeing anything that's 0 when I'm stationary. Doesn't help that I die every 3 seconds. God, I'm wheezing after my last cigarette. Again, though, I'm seeing this value here. Seems to be changing as I move up and down the screen. It seems to be some kind of location. Oh, actually, yeah, if you look at that, we've definitely got an X and Y going on there. And it's counting backwards. The X is, and expect it to be constantly being written to and read from. Yeah, I'm fairly certain it's going to be something in here. I'm just not sure how to go about this. Let's have a look again at our sprites. So let's have a look at our Y position again. Let's see how many times that's actually being used. Okay, it's been used quite a lot, and there's only these 4 that are actually storing it. So let's have a look at some other things. It could be that it's adding the value, so let's do an absolute add instead and see if we can find anything there. No, okay. Let's again check our other store types. Store accumulator and store X and Y. Okay. Let's go and revisit this code. So we know this is the intro, so we're not going to mess with this. Let's go and have a look at what's on IC. I'm convinced it's something to do with these ads. We can test that actually by changing this routine. Actually, the sprite is always in the middle, right? The sprite never actually changes its position. If we look at the sprite positions in here, X position 163, 102, they never actually change. So our sprite position isn't changing, but our map position is changing. And I think we saw the map position in the 0 page. Which was it? These ones? Or was it that 1.5? 1.5 T8 7, sorry. Oops. Okay, so that's one thing we need to note, is that we're not actually moving the sprite until we get to the edge, and then it is moving. So these checks are probably just if we reach the edge of the map, then it makes sure we can move up and down. But these values would imply that that's the scroll speeds. So these would be our scroll speeds. Okay, so I still think this 15C6 is promising. So as painful as it is, I'm going to go through all of these locations. So that's resetting it to 0. Thankfully most of them are quite close, so I can just kind of skip through. This is... here we go. Load the... I think this is one of the scroll registers. Let me just check that. I think it is. I'm pretty sure that's a horizontal scroll register. Oops. No, it's the vertical scroll register. So this is saying C6. So this is our vertical speed, basically. So it looks like part of the problem with this game is that it's using just a single bit for speed, which in a game like this you probably need a bit more precision. I mean, when we looked at thrust, I think it had 3 bytes for speed, and this has only got 1. So you're either moving at 1 pixel a second, 1 pixel a frame, 2 pixels a frame, 3, and so on. There doesn't seem to be any other slowdown to that. Where have I gone now? I've gone miles away. Which means it's going to be tricky to change that, but what we might be able to do is reduce the top speed so you don't kind of zip around quite as fast, and maybe slow down the rate at which you accelerate to that top speed. So let's give that a try. So I'm fairly confident in that case that our 15C6 is something to do with the vertical speed. It's being stored in 15C8 afterwards, so it's probably got like a before and after speed, probably for the scroller. So let's move to the next location, 11B1. I'm guessing this will be the same, but for the other direction. Oh no, this is vertical scroll as well, but it's subtracting. So again, it's using the same thing. I'm guessing 11C1 is the beginning of the routine which does the map copy. Good night, Amok. Thank you for joining the stream. 1, 2, 4, 3. So we've got another subtraction here. So it's not that. So we're looking for things that change this value, not use this value. And that will give us a really good indication of where. Is it using the map position rather than the helicopter position? Yeah, that was the problem. We were looking at. I was trying to look at the sprite, and actually the sprite only moves if you reach the edge of the map, whereas this seems to be moving the map, which is what we are interested in. Okay, Dusted. Yeah, I've got to debug some JavaScript tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to it, to be honest. It's not my favourite language, although I do write an awful lot of my tools in it just because Node's nice and easy, so it's nice and quick to write command line stuff. Okay, let's go on to D5. So this is add-in. So again, this is the thing. So I'm going to write this 15C6 down because I'm pretty sure 15C6 and 15C7 are at X and Y speeds. Can you actually completely debug JS? It's surprising actually. There's the debugging tools have got really good compared to say 10 years ago. As for whether I can completely do it, I can do it to the best of my abilities, but I'd rather not. I'm not a big fan of it. So I'm trying to get out of coding anyway. That's another add. I don't mind coding for myself, but coding for other people can be a bit mind-numbing at times. I think I've reached the point where I want to change in my life. So still subtracting. One of these somewhere is going to be doing something other than just adding or subtracting this value. One of them is going to be changing it because we know that this value does change. The jank chopper's back because we're not using the debugging. The cracked version that we've written, we're just using the original one to find where we're going to patch. Yeah, I fully expect to do bits. I don't mind coding if it's something for my it serves a purpose. If I'm writing a product that I've got to kind of ship out to people or to ship out to teams, that it's just I like to hack things together. I don't like to spend too long on stuff, and I guess that's why the security stuff is good. Where is the wine? It's in the fridge, ready for Saturday. I've got work tomorrow, so I can't drink wine. I smoke my little CBD instead. This keeps me sweet. Let's have a look. 17A5. Okay, here we go. This is loading it. So this is loading the value and comparing it with 0. Excuse me. Loading a value, comparing it with 0. If it's not 0, then it's jumping to here, which is decreasing it. So this looks like deceleration. Interesting. Okay, let me just write the byte down. CE. In fact, I can just do it, code it in here. I'm going to try something. I'm going to try. So C6 was Y, so I'm going to try just changing that to a load and see what effect that has. I think what this is going to do is instead of me slowing down, I'm going to continue in the direction which I am doing now. So I tap once. I'm just bouncing off the walls now. Okay, so it looks like we're getting to the right kind of area. Oops. So let's put that back because we do want that to decrease. We do want to slow down. I mean, do we want to slow down quicker maybe? This could be something... we could find a way to slow it down, or we could even immediately stop. I mean, this is obviously an inertia thing, so this is, you will keep moving until it's decreased. So that's an area of interest. I'm going to write that one down because I think 17B6 is vertical inertia. We could play around with that as well. So we're kind of getting somewhere now. So this jump was to B9, which is here, which just exited that function. There's another 15C6 here. This time it's comparing if we're 1. So if our vertical speed is 1, if it is 1, then we go to here, which immediately exits. Otherwise, if we are less than 1, i.e. with 0, then we'll come to here, which seems to increase our speed. Otherwise, we decrease the speed. Okay. This might indicate increased speed. Okay, I'm going to try changing that to a load accumulator. See what happens. Oh, look at that. Vertically, I can stop it dead. Already that feels a little better. Ooh, this is actually... It's weird because when I press down, it continues down. It doesn't stop. It's only when I push up that it stops immediately. But good one there, Hitch. It's got me chuckling anyway. It's a good one. Yeah, it does feel a little cheap. I feel like it needs to... I don't know though, pushing up feels... What would happen in a helicopter? If you push up in a helicopter, well you don't, though, you increase the collective or whatever they call it. And then and you continue until you change it again, don't you? But this is kind of what we're doing. The worry is when you press down, it keeps going down, so it's kind of a mismatch between the two directions. You know, I'm going down here. I mean, oh, you see that? That's really, really bad sprite. Sprite to map kind of pinning, or whatever you want to call it. Interesting. I don't know. What do you think, guys? What do you think we should be doing to the sprite, to the helicopter? Do you think we should allow it to hover like this, Do you think it should naturally fall down but at a slower rate? Glide slowly down in the direction. Could glide slowly for a short while and it would feel natural. Yeah, it's just too quick at the moment, isn't it? It feels really fast when we do that. Okay, what was that? It was an increment, wasn't it? So inc 15c6. So if I put that back, yeah, and see immediately. Actually, do you know what? Going up, it stops going up the moment you let go. There's no continuation in that direction. I wonder what would happen if I change that to I'm gonna do really strange stuff now. Oh, look at that. Speeding through the level. Okay, so that wasn't a good change. 5c6. The problem is now I've got some weird kind of speed setting going on now. I'll die in a minute. So I'm going to write that address down as well because that's quite interesting. 17c7 seems to be kind of a way to hover. So I'm guessing this here is our gravity, is acting like our gravity. So what we could probably do if we write a routine in here. So let's try and replace this something different. So let's do it. Just do it at the end here. Doesn't really matter. We're using program counter to point to where we're going anyway. So 17c7, and we'll jump to routine. Apply gravity. And then in this area here, where was it? Yeah, we can add some code. I need to go and check actually that we've got enough room around there. We might have to relocate some of this code. There's a lot of 20s there. Could just be space though. 0200, that's tape buffer. Can't use that. So we're looking at 0800. So this is the area we've started putting code in. See, here is where we started putting code in. But there does seem to be something here, so I'm just going to go and check what's at 0850. Oops. This doesn't look like code. This looks like some other kind of data. Doesn't seem to make any sense on here. So what I'm looking for is a block of kind of zeros, or I mean, this looks suspiciously like free memory. I mean, I can't imagine that pattern of bytes being used for anything. So I'm gonna relocate all our code to 0800 because that gives us a good few pages before stuff happens, and we know the main code starts here. So this is probably just blank space. So let's relocate this to 0800 and start putting our functions in here. What do I call it? By gravity. And so the original code was now. So the original code was inc 15c6, but this seems to be a bit too much. So I think what that's doing, because when we push up, it's not doing anything. It's only doing something. If I put a breakpoint on here, if I push up, it does nothing. It's when I start falling. So when I start falling, it starts increasing. So let's go and have a look at what value it's increasing to and step through it a little bit. It's at 0 now, and if I step through, I only ever increased to 1 though. It only ever went up once. So this is, it's almost like it's saying start falling. Almost like this is saying you can begin falling now. Do we actually accelerate? No, we don't. We travel at the same speed downwards. Yeah. So I think we need to find where this is being added, which we had somewhere else, which I completely forget now, but I can hunt it down. We find out where it's being added, and we change that code instead to apply the gravity. I'll leave. We're going to replace this. So let's hunt for. I'm going to start with these streams as well. I'm going to start doing, when we're finished, whatever we create, I'm going to patch it like this. So I can release it and you can all kind of have a play around with it. Sometimes they're going to be kind of not very eventful. I mean, the Continental Circus one, there wasn't an awful lot to do in that. Sometimes they will be kind of crazy, like the Creatures one that had quite a lot of stuff that we messed around with in there. And sometimes they'll be like this, where we try and do some serious stuff. Okay, so that's the one, 6D. Search for that. Because I think it'd be good for you guys to kind of. I'll release the source code and also the PRG as well. So if you want to mess around with the source code yourself, you'll have this to play around with. If you just want to play the result, then we'll have that as well. I was thinking about this today. If we did change it and it became a more playable game, how would you release it on CSDB? Because it's no longer a crack. It's kind of like you're changing it. So if somebody went looking for Airwolf and they came across our version, we run the risk of them. There we go. I'm going to put a breakpoint there. We run the risk of them thinking it's the original version. We don't really want that. So maybe we'd have to rename it or something. Yeah, it's a mod, isn't it? I think there is a section for that, and we can change things on the title screen as well. So we could put some, Airwolf Plus, Sharewolf. I really liked. Was it you, Steps, who called it Sharewolf? I kind of liked that. Okay, so yeah, there's that values here. So this is the value now. And it's being added, but it's being added to go up. And it's not being added to go down. So it's not that one to go down. So we're looking for the one that makes us go down. 12D4. Right, that one. Oh, I did not clear the other breakpoint. Airwolf improvement contest. Yeah, I think it'd be good to kind of pass this around. When we're done with it, you guys kind of take it and just, play around with the code. If you make an improvement, share it again, let everyone else see it, and we'll just keep messing around with it. It's Airwolf August after all. I think it might be a subtraction, this, but I'm gonna keep checking the adds for now, and then we'll check a subtraction. So what I'm looking for is a breakpoint being hit as I start falling, that's related to this 15C6 value. It's not looking promising though. But I think it might be a subtraction, because we're working in map space, not sprite space, and the map is moving in the opposite direction. The map is actually going backwards as we go forwards. You know what I mean? It has to. That's how motion works, right? Oh, see, that broke straight away. Oh, that's breaking every frame. Okay. Okay, so that is being called all the time. And that's being added to this value. 1EB4, 1EB5. Just going to see what they are. 1EB4, this one, 1EB5 is the one after it. Yeah, this is our map position, isn't it? This is where the map is scrolled to. So I think if we, where was it again? I've lost it. If we mess with this, we might get somewhere. So that's what we're going to change. So that's at 154B. And that is adding the value to the map, so that's making us go down. Interestingly, this is going to behave differently at the edges in a map, so we might have to make some changes to the way this value is also added to the sprite data, but we can look that up again in a minute. We should see a similar breakpoint like this, but instead of these values there'll be some sprite values for the edges of the screen. We saw it before when we were messing, so we should be able to find it hopefully. So we're going to change it to point to our new routine, which is going to be here. The original code had this, and so what I'm going to do, we can't guarantee that the X and Y register can be used. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the accumulator onto the stack so we can pull it back later. And we're going to pull it back in order to add a value to it. But what we're also going to do, we're going to create, I don't know what to call this. I'll just call it a timer, because we're gonna increment it all the time. And what I'll do is I will increment the timer, load the timer, do our little and with one trick, and if it is 0, then we're not going to do anything. We're going to skip over this section, and instead we're going to have to pull from the stack again, because otherwise we'll get a crash, and then we'll return. I'll put a return there as well. So what this is going to do, it's going to perform this every other frame. Instead of every frame, it's going to perform it every other frame. So let's give that a try in our version. I'm pressing all the wrong buttons now. There we go. Definitely feels a bit slower if I just fall. We can check that by changing the timer. Yeah, so the two pulls, Andy, is because we're pushing the accumulator here, which means before we exit this function, we have to pull. And so what this bit is doing is making sure that we only run this block of code once every however many frames, and then we return. But if this doesn't fire, then it jumps to here, so we still need to do another pull because that one won't have been hit. Only one of them will get fired, but that's why. Let's try it. Slowed it down a little bit more. It might be that this isn't the value that we're looking for, but there was definitely something going on. It's not made a huge difference actually. That's fine. We can find where else that's being hit. So it's also being hit here, which is subtracting the value. See when that's been. So that's on pushing up, it looks like. If I stop pushing up, stops running. I'm going to write that address in here just so I know. And I'm going to call that I'm going to call that fall. I'm going to call this one climb. 1, 5, 6, 8. Climb. Limp. That currently is subtract 5C6. And I'm just gonna comment that out for a minute and just put the old code back in so we can see what's going on. 5C6 and there we go. That should be doing exactly the same. It definitely doesn't seem to have affected the speed that we're going up and down. I wonder if it affects the maximum speed. So if we look at 15C6 as I push up, let's see if that value like goes to 1 or does it go higher. So currently it's on 0. Oh, it seems to be 2 if we're going up, 1 if I'm going down. Oh, that just confuses things even more. Okay. I can pull down and make it go to 3. So I'm not convinced by that one yet. I'm gonna have a look around some of these values. In fact, did I look at these ones before? I think I did, didn't I? No, I haven't looked at all of these yet. So I'm gonna see if there's something else that's changing that value, because something somewhere is making that go to 3. We had our increment, which we were looking at 4, which was around here somewhere, I believe. This one? Yeah, so there's our decrement. This is the one that's decreasing it. Decreasing it, increasing it, but there doesn't seem to be anything that's comparing it to 3. Let's have a look, let's see if we can find a compare to 3, because I don't think it was going higher than that. Maybe we can slow down the rate of descent. So looking at 15C6, it's at 0. Yes, I can't go any higher than 3. 3 seems to be the maximum. So let's search for compare 3. So that's C903. Okay, I've got a few places. Are there any around this location? 180. Let's go and have a look at that. Ah, here we go. Loaded commutator 15C6 compare with 3. So if I change that to 1, does that stop me pulling down at a crazy rate? Yes, it does, in fact. Now, the problem here is we can't slow it down too much because you've got these things that you've got to avoid out there. So let me try and get through and show you what I mean. I can't even do it, but yeah, those falling balls are going to be really hard to deal with. There's also this here as well. That's interesting. So this is basically doing this. Let's stick our maximum speed back to 3 again. And this is saying if we are at 3, then skip over this increment. And this increment here is increasing our speed. So maybe this is the one where we can slow down the acceleration. We change this to, let's just say, down accelerate. And this is now trying to do this. And it's at 180F. So we're going to change that to do our routine. We'll call it accelerate down and change the name up here. need more little toys on my bot for you guys to play with, like slots and stuff, but I refuse to write another slot game. As that was my job for 10 years. I really don't want to have to do that again. But maybe I'll come up with something. So we're doing the same again, but this time we're incrementing instead of adding, because that's what the original value is here. We're doing it once every 8 frames instead of every frame. So our acceleration should be 8 times slower now. So you will still be able to reach the top speed of 3, but it should happen a bit slower now. Hopefully that doesn't break anything. I actually seem to go quicker, to be honest. That hasn't done a thing, has it? Oh wait, it's because what I should be doing is that I was doing it 7 out of 8 frames instead of 1 out of 8 frames. And Sackrack immediately caught up with that. Although that's going to look like I've responded to your thing, but I was ahead of you. There's enough lag that I was ahead of you there. But well spotted. True, true. Oh, it's a very ugly process, this, actually. Because it is working, but it is kind of annoyingly gradual. Okay. I'm going to change that to 3, so it's 1 out of 4. It should be a little bit quicker. But we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. I think the left and right is too quick as well. This is really fast. So it'd be good if we could slow that down a bit. I mean, the maximum speed just feels wrong for those. So let's have a look for 15C7 and see what our max speed that we reach is. I think we should change the background colour. I know a few people have mentioned it today. So our maximum speed seems to be 4 in any direction, so let's do a compare of 4. And let's have a look around 1897. Yeah, I think you're right, Steps. Let's have a try. I mean, there's some bloody god-awful colours in this. I'm pretty sure if we change that cyan to something friendlier and change the black, we can maybe make it look a little bit better. 1897. Yep, sure enough, here we go. We've got another instance of this. It's comparing it with 4. It's branching to here. Otherwise it's incrementing its value. I'm gonna start by just changing that value. Oh yeah, and the shields, we need to get rid of those shields because they're horrible. Actually, that's a good point. Shall we have a quick look at that, because I would like to have a think about, while I'm doing this, have a think about what I want to replace them with. There we go. Oh, that's not helpful, is it? I'm sure there's a multicolor button on here somewhere, but I don't know what it is. Oops. It's definitely character data because it's been deleted. Okay, so it looks like it's what, 1, 2, 3, 4 characters, and each one is kind of overlap like that. So we need to create a tile that's 2 by 2 and use that instead. I don't know what it would be, but it looks like it's. Is that a single color? I think it is. I mean, yeah, it is. There's square pixels. So notice the square in the corner there. So it's a high res sprite. It's a high res 2 by 2 tile. So okay, we'll have a look at that. But for now, let's go back to this. So I want to slow the maximum speed down just to see what happens. Let's see if it makes it more playable. That's a bit too slow now, and it's only in one direction as well, so that's the right speed. So let's change that to 03. That actually feels better. That feels like a normal speed. It doesn't feel ridiculous. So let's see if we can. So I'm going to patch that in as well. So let's put that in the code, and then I'm going to have a quick cigarette. If you want me to put a game on while I'm gone, I can do. But I might just leave it actually, because I think the amount of time it takes me to actually set it up. Right. I'll just leave the normal screen on, I think. And we're changing this to compare 03. Oops. Was 4. Feels better as 3. And so we need to find the one to the left as well. Which I'm guessing is probably this one, D9 down here. Yeah. So let's just try that out on our version. Yeah, it's definitely easier. I don't feel quite as out of control anymore. That turning is horrible though. Okay, I'm gonna go and take a quick break. I'm just gonna leave you with my normal screen for now, and then when I come back we'll do some quick patches for the colours, I think, and then we'll probably have to leave it there because I do have work in the morning, but yeah, we'll do another 45 minutes or so be right back, guys. And I'm back. Okay, so we've got it controlling a little better. I'm gonna, when we finish this, I'm gonna, like I say, I'm gonna share the code with everybody and the final PRG. If anybody wants to hack away at it, please feel free. Let's make Airwolf August something useful, and get Dom and Hayes and Hitch maybe playing it. Maybe Kohler as well. Give them a version that they can complete. Let's make it unique. So let's try and change that that shield graphic while we're at it. So you can do pretty much the same thing you can do with Sprite Pad with Charpad as well. It's a little bit harder to find the stuff you're after, but it will be in here somewhere. If we import an emulator snapshot that we imported before, oops, press the right button. And open a Vice snapshot and find our Dissect game, Airwolf. Yeah, I mean, the way they've got it set up, it's like 3 kind of superimposed things, but anything would be better than what they've got. I mean, even just bloody circles would be better than what they've got. Skulls, hearts would make more sense, yeah. Or batteries could be. Yeah, we'll have a look and then we'll import it back in. So we've imported the graphics now. So let's turn multicolor mode off because we don't want that. Actually, it's not going to let us do it here, so we're just going to have to keep an eye on the character set. This is our character set. So we're looking for stuff that looks kind of like shields. None of those. This looks like the level graphics, maybe. Some level-y kind of things in here. Actually, I'll tell you what we can do. If we go into the game and pause it, we can find out exactly where that character set is. If we go into the Vic screen, which again I can never remember how to do first time, this one, and we'll see over here, so our character set here is at 4,000, but our character set down here is at 5,000, so we go back in here, change that to 5,000. This is our character set, so I'm going to click OK on it. I'm going to disable on mode. I'm going to select them all, make them purple or something, make the background black, and it's there. There we go. So this is our shield. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the tiles 2 by 2 just so we can draw something. Yeah, that's fine. And our tile editor. So let's just drop our tiles in. We don't want that, we want that one. Looks like that, currently. No, that's not the bottom, is it? Where's the bottom? That's the bottom. Cellos. Yeah, so what do you think, guys? What should we make this? What should we turn it into? Because we've found how to do it now. I'm going to put the code in here while you have a think about that. What we need for it. Change that to chars. Call this chars, and this is just at 5,000. We don't need to do anything special here. Cellos. We could have a cross in the middle instead, not much of a change. No. I do like the idea of changing it. I mean, the battery would work quite well, actually. But the way it overlaps, it looks like it's hiding this character. But it needs to kind of fill out this character, like, quite fully. See that character it's hiding? Let's have a look. Yeah, it's that bottom corner one. But actually, it's this top one that needs to be full, so that it looks correct. But let's start with the top one, which is, I believe it's that thing here, and let's edit it a little bit. So let's just make it a solid block for now. I mean, hearts is kind of, I mean, it would work, but it would be better than the shield, but it's still not quite right, is it? I like the idea of the battery, actually. Let's try and make it look a bit like a battery, so let's do that. Curve it on that edge, maybe. No, let's bring that. We can shade it when we're done as well, I guess. That one. So, do from the edge. Probably a bit too fat, so let's thin that off a little bit. maybe curve the edges. No, that's not right on high res. Do the bottom half. Throw an S in the center. Yeah, or a lightning bolt or something. Ooh, yeah, a lightning bolt actually. Yeah, I'm gonna put a lightning bolt in it. Okay, so there we go. Right, so a lightning bolt. Let's think about this. Start here, and we cut out a chunk like this. This is the one thing I don't like about Charpad. This is why I like my own tool, because my own tool I can do this without having to do it bit by bit. I can just go and draw on the tile. Unfortunately, I'm not a very good artist, so it becomes a bit of a problem trying to do things. Do two like that, and do one more, two more like that. Looking right, is it? So we can see the tile here, so let's zoom in on it here. Let the blurring off what we're trying to achieve there. This is where it would really help if I was a decent artist. It's looking less like a lightning bolt and more like a, I don't know. Yeah, the problem is the moment I try and do that, it's going to try and decompress the characters, and I don't want it to decompress the characters, because then we're going to lose the kind of arrangement that we've got here. That's not good for us at all. Notice how actually they don't have the full alphabet, they just have the words, the letters that they need. They're actually less than a character wide. Okay, so that one there, that one, this one. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I'm going to include all these files with it, so if somebody wants to have a play around with this, then that'd be really good. I'm going to dither this edge a little bit as well, just to make it look kind of a bit more like it's rounded. Top one, is that one. That doesn't look right, does it? It's not right. It needs to be solid. Actually, one of the hardest things about doing doc was trying to draw high-res versions of the sprites that I already had. I'm going to round it at the bottom there. That will look a little bit. Because I'm not an artist at all, so trying to do this stuff was really difficult. I'm going to round it there, but what I'm going to do is I'm then going to this is probably going to not work, but I'm going to try it anyway. Not sure what that is. What's that? Ah, that's an idea to have. Ah, I like that idea actually. So instead of having it, we've got kind of the right shape. We just make it a little bit thinner around that corner, but I'm going to leave it hollow. Alright, so you posted that. Thanks, Stabs. That's good. Keep that. I think it needs to be a bit square because, well, Commodore can't do nice curves like that. So that's fine. And then I'm going to do the same at the bottom. I'm just going to trim that down, follow it out. Still looks too fat though, so I'm going to skinny it up a bit more. I'm going to keep it square at the bottom, just skinny it up at the top, keep it rounded. No, I think it needs to be square. I don't think it's going to work with the rounded edges. Then are over. One more in the top section, so skip one. Yeah, it's perfect fit. Nice. There, that actually looks like a battery symbol now, right? I mean, there's no mistaking that. That's a battery symbol. Let's just see what happens if I round the top. Does it look... Because it is going to be about that big as well. No, I like it square, I think. Cool, alright. Well, we'll stick with that. Is there any other graphics in there that we might want to change? What can we see? I'm not too fussed about the... I mean, the font isn't the best, but won't mess around with that. Hey Retro, welcome to the stream. How you doing? Are you still up for streaming Commodore, by the way? I've got you a nice Commodore 64C and all the things. Show you actually. So for those who don't know, Retro is my son. He's of the generation that hasn't really played these things. Welcome to the stream, Godfather. So I've got you this. Got you a nice Commodore 64C. See that? I'm going to send that to you soon. Along with this. Something you've probably never had to use before. So you're going to be loading games from tape, and I've got you a nice joystick as well. Play on. Got you a little, see that, and the leads you need as well. So if you're still up for it, I will send that to you soon. Oh, and I've got you a little capture box as well. You've got everything you need to stream. And I've got a couple of games on tape. So I'll send you some tapes, but I'll also make you a cartridge as well. I've got some cartridge somewhere So I'll send you a couple of cartridges, so you've got some stuff that will load instantly as well. I have tested the PSU steps. I've also recapped it, so you've got brand new capacitors in there. It's got heat sinks in it, and it's got a voltage regulator inside it as well, which should prevent, if the power supply does go, then it will protect it. And yes, I think you should load from tape for your first stream, just so people can see your reactions to it. That'd be quite cool. Is this the same Airwolf game based on the show? It is. It's the Airwolf game from I couldn't tell you when it's from actually. It's quite old, but yeah. The games I've got on tape aren't great, by the way, Sean. So don't expect the first games you play to be anything exciting. But I think you should experience what most of the people in this channel have experienced in their childhoods, which is sitting waiting for a tape to load. It's not a nice experience. Although it's kind of gone that way again now with the speed of some of the big games when they load. So okay, where were we? Oh yeah, we were gonna have a look to see if there was anything else. So let's just check if there's anything on the main intro screen that we might want to change. But I'll send you some really good games. So there's a game called Sam's Journey I want you to play. I think I've shown it you before. That's very good. And there's a couple of others I want you to play as well. There's Turrican I really want you to play, and the Creatures games as well, which I think you saw last time you came on. Is it going to take long? It can take 5 minutes, it can take 15 minutes, so it depends on the game. But the most frustrating thing is multi-load games. So some games, when you load, you have to rewind the tape. When you turn the tape over, once you've loaded the game, you turn the tape over and then you load level 1 on side B. And when you die, you have to rewind the tape back to the beginning and reload it again. And that gets really frustrating, but you should experience it, because it's kind of something that's been lost in the... I need to get myself killed, don't I, so I can... Just get myself killed while chat. That's a retro one. That's a Quickstar Quickjoy. It's a nice little arcade feeling joystick. I think for someone like Sean, who's not used to the kind of the joysticks that we are now called flight sticks, aren't they? And this is the modern equivalent of our kind of Cheetah 125s. You know, this is an analog flight stick. Whereas the arcade stick will probably be a bit more familiar to him. So. Okay, I'm not seeing anything extra on this screen, so let's just save out our char set now with our new battery logo. So we export the character set as a raw binary file. We'll put it in new chars. And then we'll import it in here. Should have a nice new shield. Yeah, my zip stick. This is my favourite joystick. I think it's amazing. It's really durable. It's really quick. It's my favourite joystick. There's no way on earth you're getting that one, Sean. I'm sorry. But the Quick Shot is a good joystick. It's very good, and it's compatible with quite a few machines as well. It's got a little switch on the bottom to switch between Amstrad and Atari. Amstrad, Atari, Commodore, Spectrum. It's a handy little stick. Okay, so that's all in there. So let's have a look and see if that has actually put our thing into the game. Okay, it's failing to find. Okay, memory block overlaps sprites. Oh, interesting. Oh, okay, so the sprites start at 5500. So we have to reduce this character set, so it's probably this bit here is sprite data. So I'm going to reduce it down to about here. I'll do it a little bit past that just in case. Yeah, there we go. And then I'm going to export it again. So if you do get overlapping files like that, you just need to make sure that you're importing the right amount of data. We just had a conflict between what was going on here and what was going on here. Charles. Oh, we've got this little bit down here. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of this little bit because we don't need that. And then I'm going to shift the image over so that it fills in a little bit better. In fact, it will stop them overlapping a little bit. It might actually look slightly better, so I'm guessing that's these bits here. So let's just delete those. We don't want those. And there must be another one here. Not one yet. Turn the music off again. Let's just shift everything over a little bit. The problem is we're going to have to recreate it on the other side. So let's start on this side. So if we shift that over 4, it's right on the edge. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Actually, it means we can blank out that character on the other side. So we're actually going to get rid of the overlap here, which is fine. I mean, I think it'll still look good. I think it'll still look better. Maybe they put the overlap in because it looks so terrible. They thought, well, we need to do something to make it look slightly better. So let's add an overlap in. Didn't work though, did it? I mean, medieval shields. Mind you, we're putting electronic batteries in a chopper from the 80s, so we're not exactly being accurate either, but I think we're being slightly more. I think there is some electricity in a helicopter. I doubt there's many medieval melee shields in a helicopter, so. Okay, so let's, not save it, let's export that again. Charles. Put that up again. So, out of interest, Sean, are there any games you do know of on the Commodore, other than the ones we've mentioned already? Is there anything that you know from that era? Or are you really completely blind to it? I don't know why I'm shooting at that for so long. Do I have to shoot that, or do I have to land on it? I can't remember what to do on this. It certainly feels easier anyway. Oh yeah, Prince of Persia. I've actually got that on cartridge as well, so maybe I'll send you that as well. I think one thing you're definitely going to find different is the difficulty level. Games nowadays have so many checkpoints and continues. You didn't have saves, you didn't have continues. When you died, that was it. You went back to the beginning. I think that's going to be the biggest, your biggest problem, getting used to that. Okay, so let's do one last thing before we wrap it up. Let's see if we can change the background colours and see what they look like. So let's start by just dropping into the game and playing around with the values. And when we get some values that we like, we can see if we can, see if we can find where they're actually set in memory. So let's go and jump to the background. Which is that one. So I mean, there's light blue, I guess, which would look like that. So whatever colour we set, we're going to have to set the border the same colour. There seems to be some weird stuff around here. I'm not sure what that is. But yeah, we're definitely going to have to set the border the same colour because of the way this works. So, for instance, you can see where the scroll, the screen is being scrolled and where it isn't being scrolled, whereas if I change that to there, it should hide it. So I think we can safely say this light blue doesn't work, right? That's too bright, too gaudy. Let's try dark blue. Maybe that's gonna look a little bit better. Oh, why didn't that not change in the background? In the border even? Strange. Okay, light blue kind of looks a bit better. We've got a brown here, which is these. We change that to like a dark grey, which I think is that. No, maybe lighter slightly. Okay. And then there's a cyan here, so if we change that to very light grey, what's that look like? That didn't do anything, did it? It's not. This is probably in video in the RAM up here. There a B? No, it looks like it's grey. Yeah, it's definitely grey. There's no other colours. I mean, these colours are obviously different down here. That's all this. But this is. Okay, let's have a look at what we've got going on here. D026. Oh, that's interesting. This might actually be using a very strange video mode. That's the. Standard multicolor text. It seems like it's using ECM mode because this is what this is here. Oh no, hang on, blue. I'm going to try changing that. D026. This one here. If I change that to that, does it go? No, it hasn't changed that colour. That's obviously this here. Change that to FB. I'm just making things shades of grey now. Where is this cyan coming from? That's what's bothering me. If it's multicolour and you want to show cyan, you have to set it to be video RAM, in colour RAM. What would it be? Also, why am I not seeing a border in oh, there we go. It's very strange. So I kind of like this blue colour. The problem is it's going to clash with the sprites. What would very dark grey look like? Yeah, I'm not sure the colour change works actually, guys. C. Oh, that kind of works. So I want to get rid of that red though. The cyan red. What am I on about? So I kind of like that grey colour. I think that's kind of a bit less. If we could change that cyan to like white or light grey. No, we've got light grey. We've got. Oh, we can. Oh, damn it! I need to pause the game, don't I? That's the problem. Go in. So I think it needs to stay black, but I mean this cyan is horrible. It really is disgusting. I'm not sure why they thought that would be a good idea. And yeah, that's this, isn't it? So if we changed that to like white, that would be what? Let's have a search for. Okay, there's no really. There's because I've done that. Okay, I refuse to accept that it's not really. It's not found any. Okay. 209F. No, it's not that. I would have thought it was filling the screen with that colour, but it doesn't look like it is. Let's in here do. When it gets changed to that, it should stop. So let's get killed. Has stopped. We're at 1B8E, so let's go and have a look at that. 1B8A, sorry. What did that actually do? It's using. Okay, it's using a 0-page addressing to do it. So if we look in 19, we should see a value changing, which is why we couldn't see it. It's being updated on the fly. So we just need to change that 1B8A. Let's turn that breakpoint off and change that to something else. Yeah, so I know where it is. 1B88 global color RAM format, and change that to not 01 because that will make it high res. We need 09. And then let's go and find all the other colours, and then we can actually play with them in our own thing. So 20. So we're going to leave those as black. So what we're interested in is these other colours here. So this one. Let's just remind myself. F1. F2, F3. I haven't changed any of them. Why has that not changed any of them? Oh, that's changed my sprite colour, which I didn't want. Maybe it needs to be running to do it. F3, there we go. So the D022. Well, that red looks kind of nice actually. D022 and D023 are the ones we need to mess with. Let's have a look for those. Oh wow, they're in lots of places. Okay, let's search for store accumulator as those locations. That looks a bit better. B7, 3, 4 even. Yeah, here we go. So 1B72, so let's put that in, which makes sense because it's right near this code as well. See colours, and then copy that code and change it to what we want. So 0E goes in. Yeah, the cyan pillar looks horrible. It's a really, I mean, in my opinion, it's one of the worst colours in the palette. and I don't think it should have been used so liberally. It's fine in small amounts, but in large blocks like that it just looks horrible. This isn't a spectrum. The colours shouldn't be that bright and gaudy. They need to be muted and pasteled. Okay, so we've got our colour RAM set up. So let's play around a little bit with the colour in here until we find a colour that kind of works for the main colours, and then we'll go and change the cyan colour. I kind of like the red, but I mean, I'm not entirely convinced by it. Maybe if it was a brown edge, no. Yellow edge, maybe. Whoa, no. Purple. The thing is, you've got these pipes, and these pipes kind of imply that they would be, you know, kind of grey in colour. And then with white instead of the white for this here, make a white line on here, make this look a bit more, although it's too outliney. Maybe this should be the darker colour and that should be the lighter grey, and then this should be something else. Too light. Kind of. The problem is doing these greys makes it look kind of boring, doesn't it? It's not colourful. Let's try. Oh, I'm dead again. I've got to go back and set these again. Try with a lighter, darker. Let's try with purples and reds instead, maybe. No, let's try brown and red. No. Orange and red even. Yeah, the red wasn't that bad, was it? So if I put red in there, that looks kind of nice. Then it's just about making that highlight on the pipe look right. So. So the colour of this pipe is also the outline on these, so it probably needs to be a light colour. So maybe orange, like that. Kind of looks alright, I guess. I don't think it's light enough though, it needs to be a bit lighter. Maybe that does need to be a grey. Where was I? There we go. Maybe that should be light. That's too light. That kind of works. Let's try that. So let's try FC, F2. So this just needs to be 0C, 02. And global colour. Well, let's see what we get. So that's with white. Doesn't look too bad. So we can only have the lower 8 colours here. So we've got white, red, cyan, green. Oh, sorry, purple, green, blue. Purple maybe. Try it with purple. See what happens. I don't think it's going to look right though. It doesn't look right. I think the white looks best actually. Because it kind of needs to look like a shine down here anyway, so it needs to be lighter than this. And the only other option we've got is yellow, which would look a bit weird. Cyan we've already decided looks horrible. Let's try yellow just in case, but I think it's probably going to look odd. doesn't look right, does it? While we're here as well, I'm going to fix this stable raster problem that they've got down here. It's annoying me a little bit. It doesn't need to be like that. But I'm going to set it back to white, and I'm just going to have a quick look through the code for something. See if I can find where that's actually running. Let's start around here. Right, that's doing something with the music. Not that. 1A. Here we go. Oh no, that's not the one. That's a bottom one down here. Okay, but we're on the right lines. 012, that's 137B, let's try back there. Fate, that's another, there's another split down here. C4, this looks like it's the culprit. I'm going to try changing that 136A to C5. Because it is really bothering me, that weird split. It's, oh no, it's a bit further, sorry, it needs to be... oh no, C5 is correct, that is where it should be. So we can have a look, if we go... that is... Right, oh no it's not, it's before that, so that's after. So that's this line down here, which is... So we're actually looking... Can we see there? Okay. Looking at around about B1. Oops. So let's go back a little bit. 136D, 134B, B5, that could be it, I guess. Let's change that. Now we get that extra line. Oh, I get what's going on. Okay, I'm going to add one more thing in here. Where was our routine? This bit here, wasn't it? Global color ramp and Z09. Which is 1B88. Let's go 1B88. Oops. Go 1B88. Oh shit, I need to remember that other bit. 134B. Yeah, 1348. 6. So I'm just trying to fix the flicker at the bottom because it really shouldn't be there. There's not enough going on in this game for it to be struggling like that. So we're going to move the raster line down a little bit, which stops the flicker across here. But the problem is when you scroll, you occasionally get a flash. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the colour of this row to black, which should hopefully hide that flash. What was it again? 1B88. So we're storing it there. Increase stripe and make equal. Yep. And do bottom area. Blah blah blah. Enable 1B86. So let's carry on. So I'm going to inject into this area here. inject flicker fix. I mean, this might not work. If it doesn't work, then it's master line flicker fix. And this at the moment contains that. I'm going to make it go and do flicker fix. And I'm going to move that into flicker fix. Up here. So the last thing it's going to do is that, and then return. We can use X, so that's good. So we use X with 0. Load accumulator with 0. Just need to work out what this line is here. Oops. That is line 17. That one, 16 actually. And that is that. 800 plus 16 times 40, X. Dissect. Let's do that backwards. Dissect. See what happens. Yeah, maybe to get up. I'm not sure. I'll definitely post it somewhere. It's going to be tomorrow afternoon when I get home. In fact, maybe what I'll do when I'm finished, as soon as I'm finished, I will zip up everything we've got so far and drop it into Discord. So, that's why. And then I'll do a proper kind of commit somewhere. On Friday evening sometime. So I'm hoping this fixes our little flicker. If it doesn't, I can always delete the code. That's a great thing with this. If you do stuff, you can, as long as you just put little labels next to it, it's really easy to take things out and stuff. And that's gone one line too high, that now. So let's just change that. Flicker fix. On the line below. Yeah, maybe we could do another part to it. I think if I did another part to it, it would be kind of. I don't know if to do it on the Dissect stream or do a slightly different stream. No, that's not working, is it? All right. They may have tried all this anyway. It is difficult to get it right, but it shouldn't be flickering as bad as it does. But let's take that bit out anyway. I think we're gonna have to call it a night here anyway, guys. So let's take that out. Just check that it compiles. I'm gonna do one more thing before we finish, which is show you how to compile to repack this. So at the moment, this is running because it's a PRG, the reloading device. So it's it's overwriting memory like it's like we've discussed before, the kernel memory and stuff before it loads up. But we are jumping to this address. All this, the only reason it's loading is because there's a basic that's jumping to this address. So what we can do now, we've got it compiled. Just double check that that's not causing problems in the game anymore. No, I've still got that stupid line, but yeah, whatever. I think it looks a bit better already. Yeah, so what we can do now is close all the debugger down. If we go and have a look in our folder, so we've got all these things. This is our bin folder. I will zip all this up. If we take that crack, I'm just going to copy it into the root here. There's a file called, no, sorry, I'm going to copy that into, I'm just copy that out of there. Where's my crack? There it is. I'm going to copy that into there. And there's a file called Examizer, and what that lets you do is it lets you take a file and pack it down so that you don't have to worry about banking things out. We'll be doing a lot more of this on the stream in the near future, on the game stream. We know the entry point is 1000 because we've got it here. It's actually still in the console here, so we had the entry point in. The SFX stands for self-extracting. Then you give it a PRG, and then you give it -O and then output PRG, and it goes off and it packs it. So you can see at the moment this is 63 kilobytes, so it is most of the memory. In fact, the only bit it's not is the bit below the basic, so below from 0 to 0800. But what we end up with is an 18K file, and this will work on a machine now. So this is why is that opened as a disk? That's weird. Oh, because I've got DR master set up. I don't want to save now. But what this will do now is it will unpack the game. See the little pack thing down here, and then run it. And that's basically how people are doing cracks and hacks for stuff. So what they'll do is they'll find a block of memory where they can write these things in, you know, these extra pieces of code. And then what they'll do is they'll create a menu, or they may have one like pre-made where they can just fill some stuff in, and then they'll pack it. And they may pack it once or twice. Sometimes they'll create the game, they'll do the pack, then they'll add an intro which starts that unpack, and then they'll pack that as well, which is why you see all these kind of separate screens as they go packing. So I'm gonna save that out and put that in our folder, and I will zip all this up. So I'm gonna make sure I get everything in here. So I'm gonna put our original and then our packed version. I'm gonna put the chars in because we need that. I'll put the sprite pad things in as well. Might as well. And the crack code. There you go. I'm just gonna add that to archive. Yeah, zip's fine. And then I'm just gonna test it by just dragging it out to here. I'm gonna close this down. New window. Yeah, Xmizer is really good. I mean, you'll probably find every game in the RGCD 16K competition used it, because otherwise you've only got 16K to mess with. But by using Xmizer, I was able to squeeze about 50K, I think, into 16K. So there we go. We've got it all in here. If I open up Crack, I'm on F7. There you go, and you've got the other ones in there as well. So I'm going to drop that in Discord. Can you put files in Discord? I think you can, can't you? Let's have a look. Try and drop it in now, actually. Yep, sure can. There you go. Yeah, 16K. So the reason it's 16K is because the simplest cartridges you can make well, actually the simplest ones are 8K cartridges, but the simplest cartridge you can make without any additional banking is a 16K cartridge. So you can fit, as long as you can fit it on a cartridge. You need a little less than 16K because you need maybe 200 bytes, 100 to 200 bytes to actually unpack the data. Then you can use Xmizer to crush it all on there, and then once you put the cartridge in, it loads Xmizer automatically and unpacks everything. Thanks, Jacob. Thanks for joining the stream. Yeah, we're going to call it a night now. I've got work in the morning, so I need to get to bed. Thanks to everybody who joined tonight. It's been really good fun. we got somewhere with it. It would have been nicer if we could have figured out a little bit more about the gravity system, but I think we managed to do some stuff. So the next stream is going to be on Saturday. We're going to carry on with the game. We're going to add 2-player support into the game, which should be really fun actually. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for the follow, Ran0x. Welcome to the stream if you've just joined. Unfortunately we're just about to stop, but we will be back on Saturday with the new game stream. So yeah, we're gonna add 2 players in. We do a bit of refactoring, and I think we can start looking at finishing the collision as well. So the wall collisions. At the moment we've only got floor collisions, so we'll look at wall collisions after that. Yeah, so that's it guys, thanks a lot. I'm going to raid Epic Ninja Monkey because I know he's on. Let's do that now. But yeah, thanks guys, and I will see you all on Saturday. Feel free to mess around with the Airwolf stuff. Let me know if you do anything. Upload it back to the channel, share it. Let's make something special for what's it called? Airwolf August, that's the one. Brain's going, I'm getting tired. Right, night guys.